Hello my dear friends, and welcome back to another video. So yesterday was the big premiere of The Bad Batch Season 2. In my full episode breakdown, we go through everything, so go and check out that video if you've not done so. But today guys, we're gonna give The Bad Batch a break, and instead, we're gonna be talking about the Ahsoka series. There have been quite a few reveals over the last few days, so no more jibber jabber, let's dive straight into it. So calling all fans of Stormtroopers, the Ahsoka show contains a new type, what making StarWars.net are calling Thrawn's Kintsugi Stormtroopers, in other words, the Japanese art of repairing broken pottery. This will make sense in just a moment. So they say the following: there's a big connection between the Ahsoka series and the sequels, more specifically, The Rise of Skywalker. In the past, Making Star Wars said that The Mandalorian Season 3 contains Praetorian Guards from The Last Jedi. Well, now Dave Filoni has chosen to adopt from Episode 9. They say, in Episode 9 The Rise of Skywalker, Kylo Ren visits a semi-young blacksmith called Ulbrek. In Star Wars lore, the mask is repaired using Saracen iron, giving it that red veiny aesthetic. Star Wars Ahsoka is going to riff on this. Most of the Stormtroopers have been destroyed and their armor obliterated, so much like Kylo's helmet, the rebuilt armor is going to have veins running through it, but instead of the red, these troopers have been described as having, quote, golden cracks or yellow veins. The visual used in Episode 9 is based on kintsugi, the Japanese art of golden joinery and broken pottery, so the veins are deliberate and systematic. Making Star Wars say these troopers have been through a lot. They had their armor cracked deliberately like glass in an awesome show of power. So what is the purpose of these Stormtroopers? What are they there for? They say these troopers will be on the hunt, serving Thrawn under the command of Balon. And if you remember, this was Ray Stevenson's character. We thought it was Babylon, but it is in fact Balon. They also mention that Shin, Balon's apprentice, Ivana Sekno's character, is going to take these Stormtroopers with her to hunt down Ahsoka, Sabine and Ezra. So some really awesome information there. New Stormtroopers, and there are lots of folks in this community who are all about the bucketheads, so great news there. And so now we have a second update for the Ahsoka show. This series is about to do something amazing. We've had so many leaks for the show over the last month, but one of the very first reveals over a year ago was that Hayden Christensen would be in the Ahsoka series too, as Anakin's Force Ghost, as well as Darth Vader in flashbacks. At the time, Bespin Bulletin even reported that we're getting a live-action version of Twilight of the Apprentice, which in some ways you could argue is similar to what we saw in Obi-Wan Episode 6, Vader getting his helmet sliced in half, but the emotional impact is going to be very different. This is Anakin's former apprentice. We'll come back to this in a moment. Now, around the same time that Kenobi ended, news came out that James Earl Jones was retiring, and for the series he lent his voice in the form of an AI generator, which used vocal clips from his past. They also merged it and synced it up with Hayden's voice for the helmetless Vader scenes. Now, over the last few days, an old article from Nerdist has been making the rounds, reminding us of this, and one of the big reasons Lucasfilm was so keen on advancing this technology wasn't just for the Kenobi show, but also for Ahsoka. Here's the thing, Obi-Wan Kenobi was marketed as Hayden Christensen's big return, but I think Ahsoka is really where he's gonna thrive. We've now heard from multiple sources that Anakin flashbacks are going to be extensive in the show, and not just in the world between worlds, but also on her personal journey. We even had that rumour that Savannah Stain has been cast as a Clone Wars era Ahsoka, so they're doing a lot with that era, when Ahsoka was still part of the Jedi Order. Now, Making Star Wars recently said that Hayden Christensen has been doing extra training for his part in the show. There were specialty training sessions, extra workouts, and by the sounds of it, Ahsoka's giving us some of the missed opportunities of Kenobi. Now, to the credit of the Obi-Wan show, the way they generated James Earl Jones' voice was amazing. It was so much better than for Rogue One, where it was apparent he was naturally aging, and where his voice didn't have the commanding presence it once did during the original trilogy. So I see this as a good thing, and Ahsoka has the benefit of extra work being put into the generator. Now, I have seen some consternation, some concerns in the fandom concerning the recent leaks to do with Thrawn, Ezra, the New Beyond, and the magic of the Night Sisters, but everything is different on screen compared to text, so it is worth giving a chance. But despite Dave Filoni wanting to explore something new, we can rest assured knowing that Ahsoka's giving us Hayden Christensen in his Revenge of the Sith robes. This was explicit in the leaks, and he's gonna be in peak form, peak performance, the Anakin we're dying to see, and I'm so excited for how it's all gonna be put pulled off, not to mention the alternative Battle of the Hero sequence where Ahsoka goes to Mustafar. So I think Kenobi was really just the start. For fans who are disappointed with the treatment of Anakin, this isn't the end, there's more of him to come, and I wouldn't be surprised if Ewan McGregor makes a cheeky appearance as well, probably in flashbacks. I don't know if they'd replace Alec Guinness for the Force Ghost, but you never know. And by the way, did you know that Rian Johnson was originally going to have Obi-Wan's Force Ghost speak to Luke on Ahch-To Island in The Last Jedi instead of Yoda, but he realised it'd be disrespectful to Alec Guinness's legacy to replace or CGI him in that role. A good call, I think. Now, just before we move on, guys, I want to highlight what Dave Filoni said at Star Wars Celebration about some scenes he created for Ahsoka that have been a long time in the making. Check this out.
You know, when you set the stage and here you are, I'm thinking of reference points, none of which I can relate to you right now. They're all locations and sets and places that you'll really like, but not right now. When we see these places and then the characters walk on set and we line up the shots and so many people are contributing to capture this one moment. And the difference is the moment is going to happen. And that's the moment. Like, there are things we've already shot on Ahsoka that I think about, wow, I'd been thinking of that scene for 5 years, and now it's done.
And so finally, my dear friends, an exclusive interview with Michelle Ang, who voices Omega in The Bad Batch, and she talked about Season 2 with SFF Gazette. This is what she said. There's been about 6 months since we last saw her, and straight away, you can tell she's so comfortable in the batch. Her place in the squad is clearly cemented. She's picked up some new skills and improved on others. I think what we see is a more adolescent version of Omega, so she's more ready to challenge her brother's views. I think she's more assertive in certain ways, and has a little bit of a journey to go through in terms of recognizing that she has more frustrations, I guess, like any teenager, about when things don't go her way. I think Season 2 is a little bit darker than Season 1 because of a slightly older outlook. We go to places that are emotionally a little higher in stakes, a little darker, and Omega is challenged in an emotional way more than just sort of physical danger. So let's see how that plays out. But we did talk about this in the breakdown yesterday. Omega is very different in Season 2. She's got 6 months more experience, she's growing up fast, and not to mention, she even gives the odd bit of advice to her brothers, especially Wrecker. And of course that conversation she has with Echo after she overhears that he wants to help other clones, and it almost sounds as though he's blaming Omega for the situation they're in. Michelle goes on to say, I think for Omega, family, and any extension of family, is incredibly important and something to be nourished and cherished. But also I think her idea of family is loyalty, so meeting any other brothers that might not, I think it would be an interesting journey for her meeting a family member that she felt close to that had a very different worldview. Michelle says, I think it would cause her to, I don't know, I'm trying to think of how to put it into words. Family means loyalty to her, so meeting someone that she would feel kinship to, but that might be on a different side, would be an interesting journey, and this could include Commander Cody or other clones who don't share the worldview of Omega, the Batch, or even Rex. As I say, my dear friends, we're going to resume proper conversation of the Bad Batch in tomorrow's video. Check out the breakdown from yesterday if you've not seen it already, but otherwise guys, that brings us to the end of today's Star Wars news update. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one. May the Force be with you always.